Some of you already know the little special announcement, but let's make it again.
Hi everyone, I'm Cynthia. I'm the Empowerment Coordinator at Oasis Center. So I work with, one of my jobs is working with the Girls Can Do Anything camp, and this is an amazing event. Thank all of you for participating and being here. I think it's very important for us to provide this information. Like they said earlier, it's not available, we might not know about it. So we're really excited to work with TradeswHERk and incorporate that in our camp to provide this information and exposure to the girls that we work with and continue to empower and support them.
That's wonderful. We're so excited. So Kerwin is actually going to be helping with that. So again, what we're saying is they have this Girls Can Do Anything summer camp, and now they're going to have a portion of it that's TradeswHERk.
Yes.
That's great.
Nice.
Anyway, wonderful. All right, so now we're getting to the second part of our discussion, and so we're going to go through and we'll start with you over there. Allison. So why don't everybody just give a quick introduction of yourself, and then we have some questions for you. So you would like to start?
Sure. I'm Angela Sapp, Career Technical Education Coordinator at Gaston Technical College over in Quincy. I think that's all you want right now, right?
Well, sure.
Introduction, brief introduction. That's it. No, really, I'm Angela Sapp, IMCT Coordinator over at Gaston Technical. My job there is to make sure that all the programs are implemented that to the utmost skills so that we can empower as many people as we can, as many students, boys, girls, men, women, and to become successful in the CTE arena. We have high school students in the back here today from our carpentry program with this program. Our female student could not be here this morning because she was too close to the family. We're high school. We have adult students at the school. You've heard some of the things that Michelle Bell was saying and some of the things that the young lady from TCC was saying in the back. We collaborate for the same students. We compete for the same students. We offer some of the same programs. We just have them in Quincy so that it's local for our people, for our students over in Quincy. I do take special care and consideration for the carpentry program because our advisory committee chairperson is Ms. Karen Wilson, who's just a dynamic person here in the state of Florida and the region. And Ms. Jackie with NAWIC, I thank you for inviting us here all the time. I have another former student in the back, Ms. Shea Bedwith Simmons. I'm entering my 42nd year at being an educator over in Gaston County, and I've always pride myself on making sure that I expose the children of Gaston County to any and every opportunity available to them. I've often stepped in at the mothers when I had the mothers, fathers, when I had the fathers, aunts, when I my aunt, grandmother, and now looking for to be a grandmother. But exposure is the key to Gaston County. There are so many opportunities available to children who live in the bigger cities like Tallahassee and the metropolitan areas as you go down south to Florida. That's not available to children in rural counties in rural America. And one of the things I want to make sure I say before I leave today is that this program will have to move away from Tallahassee. We've got to bring it to Quincy. We have to bring it to Chattanooga, to bring it to Havana, so that our children become exposed to it. Because we have some challenges there that you don't necessarily have here in Tallahassee. And one of the biggest challenges sits right there at that capo, the great jacket. Mr. Jones, stand up, please. Mr. Jones is one of our challenges in Gaston County. And when I say this, you understand why. He's a school bus driver. And we don't have enough school bus drivers to take our children anywhere. We had to wait for him to get off of route this morning at 8:45 to bring us over here for a 9 o'clock meeting. That's impossible. Right. So we were late this morning. So some of the challenges that we have is just getting our children around to different places. So if we can bring this program to Gaston County, then we will have more involvement in the children. Ms. Bedwith Simmons is very, very interested in revamping what we're doing in our schools, and so is Mrs. Sapp. So I need to make sure that we can encourage and show our children, especially our parents, just what's available for them. I'm passionate about what I do, so don't have to start talking.
Okay.
So good afternoon, I'm Brandy Faison. I am the middle school shop teacher at Raw Middle School. We are the only middle school in the entire panhandle of Florida to have a shop program. Thank you. In addition to that, my 8th grade, all of these young ladies here are with me. I have a couple from each class. I'm running 250 students through my program this year. Most are taking me for a single semester. 2 of my students here are my year-long high school credit class. Not only are they earning high school credit, but they're earning a CTE certificate, which is a trades certificate. We were the first school in the nation at a middle school level to offer CTE for carpentry that we do. We also now have a lot of schools in the nation. We piloted it about 4 or 5 years ago. We lead the nation in CTE certificates for core and green building techniques, for carpentry and green building techniques. So we offer a lot of things to the community that are unknown. One of the questions that the last panel discussed was what could we do to get that information out from an educator's point of view. I think there has to be equity in the information. My son is an 8th grader, like a couple of these young ladies, and they've talked to their high school guidance counselors from 4 different schools in the last week, and they've all enrolled. The conversation about dual enrollment at 8th grade level has not occurred to the extent that I think it should. As a parent and an educator, I think it would be beneficial to create a uniform video of these are your options when you start high school. We have listservs, we have email accounts for parents, we have all of those things. We can send it out to every parent at every level. And if we work from the top down or the bottom up with communication, what TCC expects from us, what Lively expects when we had that, we could send it out in one message. So I think we're doing some of the things that you guys have talked about, but just like was said before, I think that communication to bridge those gaps, that's imperative so that we can understand what we have, because there's a lot of jewels around us, whether it's in Gadsden or Leon County.
Hi, I'm Dee Rasmussen. I'm not sure which hat. I think I'm wearing my ABC hat, which we'll talk about in a minute. But before that, I actually served as an elected member of the school board here in Leon County for 14 years. And I have a son who went to RA, and I won't even, this is being recorded, so I can't tell you the fun stories. But I can tell you later. Anyway, I have a confession to make. I was an elected school board member for 14 years, and I simultaneously worked in the higher education field for 20. I worked with college and university presidents all across the state, and I have a master's degree and a bachelor's degree. And I was wrong. And I am so excited that you guys are here now to know that when this mom went home and put Harvard sweatshirts on her 3-year-olds, it wasn't a good idea. And I have 3 kids, and this is not a family secret. My oldest son, everyone agrees, is the smartest. But college is not his thing. He's the one that went to RA. And, you know, he could do anything, I'm convinced. And eventually I believe he will. But because of the way I raise my children, he's like, I can't I have to go to a university. I have to get a professional degree. His twin sibling, they're twins, not him. The siblings are both have their master's degrees, and they are younger than he is. And so I just say that to say, if you go home, what happens if you go home and say, hey, Mom, I'm going to be a welder? How's that? Does that work? It will now? Yay! Back in a time when they were switching over to the FCAT, and if it wasn't taught, if it wasn't tested, it wasn't taught. That was when a lot of the programs that like Ms. Faison teaches that started to phase out because they had to focus on other things. And I think thankfully the pendulum is coming back. So I just want to encourage all of you to think about there's a bazillion things you could do with your life and your career. And I didn't do this, but one of the things I was going to do was look up the salary of the governor. But I'm almost positive that if you went into one of the trades, you could make more than that.
So I'm Jackie Wilson, and I have been in construction for over 50 years. I've been a member of the local chapter of the National Association of Women in Construction, which we call NAWIC as the acronym, for over 45 years, or right at 45 years now. So I've been actively in the industry for over 50 years, kind of every phase of it, from owning a plumbing company for 10 years to begin with, to being the CEO of the Tallahassee Builders Association for 21 years, to pulling 400 permits a year for the largest volume builder in Tallahassee for several years. Just a lot of different things in the industry here. And I actually retired for a couple of years, and then MetroNet came to Tallahassee, the 100% fiber optic internet service that we now have. And the first location in Florida that they came to, and someone told them to go find me and get me to come to work for them. And they did, and I did. So I've been back at work for 3 years and enjoying it, because I always enjoyed what I did. I enjoyed being back in the industry and have a lot of those connections that I still have and that sort of thing. So I just, I have a son, who, of course, went to school here locally. He did go to, TCC, and then he went to Flagler here, but he worked construction from the time he started working, he always worked construction. He fell in love with construction, like me, and like his father. And so, he was kind of brought up in it, knew that's what he wanted to do. And so he did finish his education and ended up in construction management with a degree in construction management from Flagler. But he was able to work all day, every day, and then he went to classes at night with the Flagler program. So, yes, education's great too, but the industry and the trades and your skills and whatnot can get you a long, long way. And I encourage all of you. I'm so glad to see all of you students here.
Curran, take it away.
Good morning, well, afternoon, I think now. I'm really just Kerwin. I do a lot of things in the community, a lot of administrative things, but I guess the reason why I'm here today is I like all my girls to have a voice. And the girls that are here this morning are from our Future Builders Club. I have some from the Future Builders Club from Gaston and my daughter back there too, who's a TCC graduate next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, she needs to get a scholarship because it's costing me a fortune. So she's gonna eventually come to work for me, and she's gonna be she's studying to be a real estate agent. I'm a contractor and a real estate agent as well, so I do a lot of things in the community, do a lot of stuff in the industry. But my main passion was, out of all this work that we do, and I do a lot of remodeling, new construction, additions, renovations, and I saw that my workforce, they're older than my father was. And I looked around, I was like, well, where are the young people that I need to go into the houses? I don't like going into the houses. I can't. I will. I don't like going on roofs, but I will. So I needed younger people because all of my subcontractors were aging out. They were retiring, or they were too old to get on the houses. They'd gotten a little too wide to get on the houses. So I looked around, I was like, where are all the trades? Where are all my students that are eager to get out there and help me make some of this money? I mean, we had hurricanes coming through here. I was slammed. I had so much work. If you want to get into construction trades, I need help. So I need people to help me get these roofs back on. We went in Gaston County for almost 2 years, and they still have blue tarps over the roofs. I don't have enough workforce to fill all these gaps and get all the insurance money that they're giving away. I need help. So I like to encourage my ladies and my fellas too to get into some of these carpentry trades, get into my welding, my plumbing, electrical, have that, because we need you, and there's a lot of money to be made. I get up every morning and I love to go to work. Absolutely love it. I put on my pink boots, my hat. This is for y'all because I don't do makeup. I did this because they want me to wear a hat today. But we make really great money, and some of it is experience and some of it is education. So if you have the experience or you want the experience, call me. You can go shadow with me a day. I'll show you what I do. Show you how fun it is to boss around guys. And you will absolutely love it. Come train with me one day, and we'll put you up at the TCC Alive Gaston so that you can learn more. I need more in the workforce. I'm running out of people. I need you. So please go into the trades and help me out. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Allison Denny. I'm also a general contractor here in Tallahassee. I've had my company about 20 years. I'm here to say the same thing she is. I need her employees. I don't just need it. All of our subcontractors need them, and like you said, they need to be able to train people. These older people that are moving out of the fields need to be able to train people in those jobs. And it is easy to step in. The door is open for anybody who wants to step into a training position. And I say that as someone who, when I stepped in construction, it wasn't as easy for me. Like there were a lot of people, the field was flooded. People were closing the doors on women. They're not doing that anymore because they need people and we need to train you. And what I've learned as a contractor, I go into so many places, I do a lot of renovation work too, where the homeowner says, I'm so glad women came in here to talk to me. I'm so glad I get to talk to a woman. They want you and need you in construction, and we want you and need you in construction. And I want to be able to share the love of it, how much fun it is, how rewarding it is to complete something, to see what you've made, and then to move on to the next thing and to get to create something else. It is really a rewarding field to be in. I'm so excited that middle schools are doing shops still, and high schools. And when you're in high school, you can also work in the afternoons. We have hired employees that just work after they get out of school because high schools get out crazy early. And so you can still get a couple hours of work in. So there's plenty of places to build your experience, and that's the key to getting those jobs. And then if you want to own your own company one day, there's plenty of room for that in Tallahassee.
That's excellent. So I'm curious, I think we should ask them a few questions. So you guys get ready to. So I'm just curious of what you did today. What was your favorite part? What was the favorite part? Was it electrical? Was it the HVAC? Was it the?
So far, probably the welding.
The welding?
Yeah, didn't have anything with wood or anything.
Right,
So far, the welding.
the welding. And what about that? What made you, what attracted you to that?
Fire.
The fire.
Same.
I'm being honest.
I would have had the same answer. I would have had.
I couldn't hear.
No girls
No
welding.
girls
She noticed there was no girls.
Oh, yeah.
But
Let me add, there's a friend of mine's daughter is in the program out here, and I guess she's in her internship now and working for an international boiler company in Thomasville. And her first day of work, she sent her mother a picture of herself standing inside this huge boiler, and she was working inside it doing welding. So, and she's loving her job, loving it.
I'm so glad you're pointing that out though, because it's true. And like, when you think about that, that's opportunity. And when you see all the guys there, and you don't see women or girls,
Right.
they're not part of that opportunity. So I mean, I think that was a great observation.
But
So did that kind of make you feel like,
You
yes,
wanna-
there
you
will
wanna
be
be that
women
one.
there. Yes, there will be girls there. What we
But what I was just going to add, last year when we did this event, we toured over at Lively, and there were 5 or 6 beautiful young women that were doing their welding, and I think because women, I'm sorry guys, but women are more meticulous, they're more thought, they're more detailed, they are better welders. Also, there are people who are in the arts that use welding to create these great structures. So lots of ways you can use all of these skills, whether you go into it professionally or not.
And maybe the reason you didn't see the girls there is because the high school girl that's still on road right now is an intern for the city of Tallahassee making $20+ an hour. So she's probably at work because she's better.
Yeah.
She got hired quicker.
There are some women, and that's fantastic. It's awesome, but there can be more. What did you want to say?
Also, what I think was the most interesting in welding is it was the most like visual first. Those ones that had the most experience to actually see what we're doing. The other ones, for the first 2, we got a video or like a small demonstration. We could actually see them working.
More
actual
hands-on.
hardware and
Hands-on,
how
yeah.
actually see how it works out.
Exactly, because it's nice to be able to do hands-on.
With welding, the room was actually very similar to the shop room. It had the machines, it was loud, and we were used to that. And I feel like welding gives you a lot of like creative freedom. And you can really create whatever you want to.
Yeah. That's what you kind of have to do exactly the same thing to fix. And just, well, welding, it depends, it changes.
Something different, yeah.
That's really cool.
And when you're not actually doing a job, you can use it to just make stuff for fun because, again, giant sculptures.
What would be something, then we'll come back to it, what would be some things that you wish we would create and do so you could try some more things? Can you think of some other things like, oh, I wish I could go and And how
And see.
Kerwin said, about people come shadow her.
Like
Gotta
field
look at
trips.
I want
We used
to
to
shout-
those big, like the Amazon building. You ever want to go in there and see what's going on? Like you see that crane that's out on what is the
Right.
Thompson Road? Like you want to go in some of those buildings and see. I would love to do
I-
tours. So
I heard someone had a comment on
Right,
this
yeah, what
end.
did you say?
What did you say?
Oh,
you want
I
to
said I
shadow.
want to shadow welding. Like I want to go in there and they teach. Well, they pretty much explain how to do it. And they let me like do something small. Not
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I feel like it'd be cool to go into like a construction zone to see what it's like during one of the earlier stages of building houses or buildings, and I think that'd be really cool.
It is cool, and we did that recently, and it was so cool. It was really cool, it was.
So, in our Women in Construction organization, we do tours of projects in town. And maybe we can coordinate, I don't know how much freedom they have to go to things after work or after school. But if you can get permission slips or whatever you have to do, maybe you could be included in some of those job site tours that we take. And where the project manager takes us around, tells us what they're doing, what it's going to be eventually, because we've been to a couple of them. We'll go in the beginning of the job and then we'll go like a year later, closer to the end of the job and see the differences and how much they've come along and that sort of thing. I think you'd really enjoy seeing some of that. And we would love to have you join us.
So
Barbara, kids with. So I was a teacher in Gadsden and in Tallahassee, and I have Asperger's. And my brother had dyslexia, probably why my first teaching job was as a reading teacher, because it took him, he had to kind of drop out of University of Florida and take classes at the community college, not because he wasn't brilliant, like Miss Dee Dee Rasmussen said, but because reading was not his strong suit. And he needed something that was more hands-on. And he didn't finish his engineering degree because a lot of times college is not quite so hands-on. But he did go ahead and form his own company in Tampa. And it was because he had worked after school, in high school, in Trawler's boat building company in St. Augustine, where we're from, and he learned how to build boats. So he went to Tampa and owned his own business, and his best friend, who also learned to build boats after school at Trawler's, built most of the schools in St. Augustine, St. Johns County, Frank DeMari. So, but don't let the fact, I have Asperger's, my brother and mom had dyslexia. If you have some type of a disability, I used to think I can't do that because I have Asperger's. And I didn't even really know what it was when I was younger. They didn't even know my brother had dyslexia. There was no special school for dyslexia. But no matter,
everybody has these hidden talents that they can bring to the
Yes.
table. Wonderful. And I know we're getting a little short on time, so I want to get your question, but I want to give you guys an assignment. while we're-
And one of the, you want to wait? Okay.
I just want
Okay.
to finish, do you guys to be thinking, because we want to figure out what should we do in the schools, should there be some clubs? How can we make it so more and more young women know? Go ahead.
Well, it's not really a club, but I would like for an adult to come into our shop class and we explain how to use the machines to them if they don't know how to use
I'm
them.
coming.
Oh, I'd love that.
Before you do that, can I ask them a question? Because I feel like I know the answer, but I want you to hear it. All of these students, but 3, had never had me before this year. And half of the students didn't have me until January of this year. When you walked into the shop the first time, because you talked about how it looked very much like the welding shop. It's big, there's lots of machines. How scared were you on the first day walking in? And how do you feel now? Say it so they can hear you.
Terrified.
Now, how many of you can walk to the opposite side of the room and use any machine without me being over there and standing over you just by saying, hey, I'm going over there?
Not any machine.
But the ones you
Is
can.
Is he all
Right.
hands
So
raised?
Mom, that's the purpose of the panel. One of the questions you asked us was how could we get middle school girls more interested in the activities, the CTE activities? And I think one of the things that we need to realize is that it doesn't start at school, it starts at home. What do we present our children with at home? How many of you, the girls here, how many of you were given baby dolls sometime during your life? How many of you can fix hair
All
right now?
hands
Better
up.
than anybody, and you can do a baby doll hair in a heartbeat. Male kids, female kids, were you giving kids? And some of you probably got eyelash kits by now. How many of you were giving Legos as a child? Good. Lincoln Logs, Artica toys, building blocks. That's where we start. We start at home with giving these children the implements and instruments that we want them to have in their future careers. We have to expose our children to everything. There's no longer a toy just for girls or a toy just for boys. And we have to be so careful how we say these things now. I'm old school like Curtis. I have to be real careful with my mouth. Everybody over there to everything. Okay, we cannot be gender specific anymore. And then when you get to school, I've heard it over and over again, you've got to have field trips. Kerwin is phenomenal at getting the children from Gaston County opportunities to go. Now, they come up with all reasons not to go, but she's phenomenal for getting us those opportunities. Even with using my school, Gaston Technical, on Saturdays for building fairs, and just February during the Women in Construction Month, March, she had them out doing stars, and just getting the kids out there, it's like pulling teeth. So we've got to do a much better job in Gaston of doing that, but the opportunities are there for y'all. Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. And then when you think about being in construction, don't let anybody tell you that it's all about the dirty jobs. It's going to be outside. You got to go under the house. You got to go on the roof. I can't climb the roof right now. But I did have experience in explosion because my father taught math for years. And when we integrated schools, and the teachers from the black high schools went over to the white high schools to teach, they weren't necessarily given the top classes anymore. They were given what they didn't think anybody else wanted to teach. So my father, who was one of the top black math teachers in the black school, ended up teaching shop math. And that was one of the best experiences he had because he ended up teaching every trade to his students and not having boys at home most of the time. The boys were 18 months apart. The 4 girls that stuck in the middle had to end up learning how to mix cement, pull wires, paint, and everything else. And I still got calluses to prove it, okay? So I'm not telling you what I don't know. But don't think about the dirty jobs. How do you like to write? Do I have any skilled writers over here? You know what? There's some terms used in the construction industry that nobody will understand except somebody in the field. So who better to write about it than somebody who knows how to write?
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
And let's not fuss and fight about college degree CTE certification. How about both? How about both? How about both? Because in order to get a job, you gotta have a piece of paper. I said it this morning, a piece of paper on the wall. And that piece of paper says that you have the credentials to be paid the money that you're worth, whether it's a college bachelor's of science degree or an industry certification. They're both gonna pay off well. Do both, okay?
Yeah, and you gave me a great idea. I mean, I think it'd be good. I don't know if this is allowed or possible, but I would love these young girls if we could have them teach women in the community. Do you think it's possible to have a group of women come to Brock and these girls teach them, show them?
I think we absolutely could, so long as we followed the protocols for school safety, because that is a very big issue right now in checking in. But we could probably set something up for next school year and have an initiative to do something like that.
And finally, don't let anybody tell you that being a woman in construction, that you're gonna have to put it with men bothering you, whistling at you like you see in the movies and stuff. You know, that doesn't exist. That's just a fallacy in the movies. And again, this is why we just shadow those people like Kerwin and Ms. Jackie and others, so we can actually see what happens in the world of careers. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you're saying it, because I want to think how we can get more people into the training option, because you guys are training more with the younger people. And then the two of you, I wanted to talk about, because I know we're running out of time, so let's open it. But I mean, how do we work with the like associations and stuff? So, because am I right that that's an important piece of this, working with the association, having their help in getting the word out and working on that?
I mean, my campus is open to every situation that Curran throws at me. Sometimes she'll throw it at you.
So, like, if let me just ask them, and then we'll come back to the girls. If you can give just a few brief comments, like from each section, from educating the youth that are coming in, the associations, and then out in the field. Did you want to make just a few brief comments?
Next Thursday, we have a group of kids coming over from Carter Paramore, which is one of the alternative schools in Quincy. It's a transition group. They're getting ready to go into high school. And we would love to catch the middle schools before they get to high school, but we catch them wherever we can, okay? So we have them coming over next week, and our campus will be open, and they'll get to tour all the different programs that we have on campus. We have the carpentry program, farm tech, practical nursing, barbering, facials, nails, automotive service technology, and power equipment technology, commercial class B driving, and diesel system maintenance. And they'll get to see all of those programs in action and begin to make their own decision as to whether or not GTC is one of the places that they want to be. And our campus is open all year long to anybody who wants to come out for anything. We partner with Career Source for financial stability for our adult students. Our students from the high schools are able to be dual enrolled, as you heard Ms. Shelley talk about lively. And dual enrolled means that when you're in 10th grade, you can become a member of our campus, into some of those programs that are dual enrolled eligible. And by the time you finish high school, you will have your industry certification. And if you're getting ready to graduate from high school and go to your college, you have a money-making career opportunity in your hands before you finish high school.
So for me, the perspective is really simple. I'm a former science and anatomy teacher. 30 years ago, 20 years ago, they were pushing for STEM programs because there weren't girls taking math and science classes. They got girls into math and science classes, and lo and behold, they figured out they were great in it. And then all of a sudden, the girls were telling other girls to come be a part of this program. There was buy-in. The parents bought in because they could see the opportunity that led for their children to become doctors and other engineers and things in those fields. Now, we have the same issue in trades. You have girl buy-in right there. 3 years ago, I had less than 20% of my students were female. Right now, I'm not quite at 50%, but I'm almost there. And what I can say is the parental buy-in and the student buy-in is leading to the word spreading. There's a wait list for our program. That works the other way around, just like training the adults. Once you start to build a confidence in something that you didn't know you could do, whether it's how to use a new technology of a cell phone or how to use a saw, it doesn't matter what it is. When you build that confidence, then you then exude that confidence to others and make it less scary. And that's what we have to do, is build the confidence and make it less scary for everyone, but especially to the minorities, to the female, to whatever the minority is in our community, because we have to open those doors.
And then from an association standpoint, what can we do to?
So in my head, I'm trying to figure out a way to condense the association adult conversation for something that would be relevant. I'm just wondering, how many of you guys, the real pretty blonde lady that was in the middle that wanted a picture with you, do you know what she does? Do you have any idea what her office does? No. So you know how you have to get a driver's license to drive a car? Well, if you're going into one of these fields, you have to be trained and you have to demonstrate that you know how to do it, and then you get a license. Same idea, right? But sometimes government gets real involved in trying to tell you exactly how to do it, and maybe that's good or bad. The good part is, imagine, like, you've heard about buildings that have failed and fallen and people have been killed. Well, we need to make sure that people who are building these buildings know what they're doing, right? And the other thing I want to add is, real quick, I've heard a lot for years, I've heard students say, well, I want a career that's meaningful. I want to make a difference in society. I want to do something that matters. Well, if you think about it, without construction, you wouldn't have any place to live or go to school or worship or anything, right? And so Associated Builders and Contractors runs the largest apprenticeship program in the country. We're expanding that in North Florida. Our territory is basically Lake City all the way to Pensacola. So we're working on trying to do a lot more in training and especially workforce development training. But for the moment, we represent all the big builders. You see the big signs out on the fences. If you see a crane, next time you see a crane, look on the fence. You'll usually see the name of the contractor. Like, these folks here. But the ABC is the commercial contractor. So our guys build things like Florida State, TCC, schools, the big commercial buildings, not so much houses. And they have to come together to influence legislation. So that's what I was getting at, is one of the things that we do, among other things. Training is a huge part of it. Education is a big part of it. Political advocacy is another part, to make sure legislators don't pass laws that have unintended consequences that keep you from being able to make money.
We're out of time.
Okay, so Women in Construction, we are an organization that actually supports and gives resources to women who work in the construction fields. And so we are international. So you can pretty much access us anywhere, but in joining and as a student, it's very, very inexpensive to be a member of the organization. If you are a student member, you'd be welcome to attend any of our meetings. Kerwin does try to have like a student chapter, and they meet separately sometimes, but are also always welcome at our meetings, when we have our monthly meetings. But online, there's a lot of resources that you can use to be able to pursue your careers. And I wanted to go back to, we were talking about if you don't want to get dirty and that sort of thing. If you like to draw, if you like to, you know, if you're an artsy person or whatever, you know, architecture, engineering, being able to learn how to draw out that house and do designs for interior design even. There are fields that are related to the industry that we have to have. We have to have those to be able to build a building, to have a set of plans to be able to get a permit to build the building, whether it's a house or a business, a commercial project or whatever. So there are just so many opportunities. It's unbelievable how many opportunities there are in construction. And they're not all dirty jobs. You know, you might work in an office, you might be going out to people's homes and working with them directly in their homes, putting a project together or a remodel project for their home, just all kinds of things that are out there. So I'll quit because I know we don't have any more time.
Yeah, and if you guys wanna close us out in terms of, you know.
I talk all the time, but I want to say, I did give Kenzie, Miss my baby back there. Kenzie does have a baby doll, and it had a tool belt. It was a Barbie. They do have Barbies that are in the construction field, so her Barbie had a tool belt. Yeah, so there are some.
My baby girl builds Legos in her tutu.
I just want to say, and I feel like you might agree with me too, it's also okay to want to get dirty all the time.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up constructing. I was a little kid mixing concrete too. So get your hands dirty and do it. Do it all the time. And if anybody's looking for apprenticeships, going on job sites, things like that, ask people. If the plumber's at your house, follow the plumber around. Like there's no harm in that. Ask a question. He is looking for people to work for him, I promise. Or she is looking for people to work for her. But like that, we just keep exposing yourself to construction.
And I know you all had more questions, so I won't, because you were raising your hand.
I just wanted to say, you had a question about what we could do to better expose girls and just all kids to shop and do more things like woodworking. And we actually have a club, FBA, and I really enjoy it. It's once a month, and we really get to build things, and I think it'd be a really good experience if we expanded that.
Nice, I like that. That's
Yes,
awesome.
we have 50 builders in Gaston. Raw was our club that opened this year, and we just opened one in Jefferson County. So we're expanding, and thank you, I really love that.
They're awesome.
So when you guys have, let me tell you this real quick, when you have ideas like that,
Yeah.
the school board of Leon County meets every other Tuesday night, right across the street. And they will listen to you. They will listen to you guys way more than anybody else in this room.
And to give credit, the school board members have come by our school and our campus and specifically this program and asked the kids recently the same questions they're being asked here, and they have noted it. So they are being heard, and it's from their voices. And that's where that buy-in is important.
Again, for all of the young women, but for all of you, even your moms, your
Been there
aunts,
for 40 years.
some of your moms,
We didn't lose it, it's how we had it.
you know, cousins. So make sure you spread the word. I think, do you want to say something?
Also, we should be trying to get more into it. I know a lot of times some kids don't have the classes, or don't even know there are the things, and if they do, there are functions and they can't take them, thinking that be one of the new class. And if you do like assemblies with, like we've done today, with the panels and stuff, I think that will get to more people, because most of the school comes to the assemblies we do.
Right.
So that might help reach more kids.
Yeah, and that's, I want to make sure, you know, with bringing in any ideas you have, we totally want to, because we want to, we'd love to collaborate with you and make this, like, be a team and make this happen. You want to say something?
My dad used to have to do shop with kids, and we were covering an adult and college and stuff. And he was like, shop.
Good for him.
Yeah, and sometimes your parents educate you, sometimes you educate parents.
Yes.
And sometimes parents may not always know about this incredible field of opportunity. So it's good that, you know, you guys know you can share that. So anyway, well, okay, do you want to say something?
Actually, the meeting, whatever, I really think that's super important because I thought it was really nice to do that. Like this idea, and I never talked to like maybe twins, the girls, and I thought it was sad.
sorry, did you hear what she said?
Okay.
No,
No,
because she's wearing,
Hijab.
like she feels like she's being kind of alienated, like from other people, like to be in that field, but you're not. So what can we do to make sure that you don't feel that way? And you feel welcome, and what are some things that we could do to be more helpful?
Oh.
It's really hard sometimes to feel like people aren't supporting you, and I want you to know we support you. Absolutely. Somebody have some good thoughts to say?
People reject what they don't understand. So that's just a part of life, and that's gonna follow you from now for the rest of your life. And certain things in life you just have to expect, and that's one of those things. We're going to be judged in spite of what we look like, what we don't look like, where we come from, where we're going, our mindset, how we stand out, our unique gifts. So that's something that you're gonna have to expect for the rest of your life, but be okay with that. Keep your head up, know who you are, know who you are, and just keep going. Don't give up. You gotta be okay.
And tell people when you don't feel again.
Absolutely.
Because you deserve it.
Speak your strength. That's
Right. Right. Absolutely.
The power to be themselves.
Well,
Can we mention the fact that, and I'm here as a 43-year-old former teacher, but always an educator, who is now entering this field. And young lady, I am shadowing Miss Kerwin Wilson Jones, who is the first Black woman. Is that right?
I am yes.
To break a barrier.
Yeah.
And I believe that in this moment, you are going to break barriers too. Don't you be afraid to just keep moving and keep stepping. You got this, okay?
And other people like you see you doing that.
Yep, and they're not going.
That's right.
I'm so
Big
proud.
believer.
To be different.
Well, look around you, honey, and understand you have a village here ready to help you. Anytime you need a village, right here.
Well,
Yeah, well, we're going to courageous.
Yes, yeah, but we do want to. We're gonna continue to support her, but we also want to thank every one of our panelists for being here today. I think it became a lot more impactful. It's something I know that's near and dear to my heart. As she said, that they're a former teacher but always an educator. That it's more than information, but that it's an experience and that it's impactful. It's meaningful conversation that you can take with you. I know I will take today with me. Moving on, I have a baby girl. She's 1.5, but she builds Legos in her tutu. So we're on the right track. Yes. And a father that was an architect. So I do understand how important it is to know both sides. So I hope you take that with you today. Share this conversation. Thank you to each of you for being here today. Some of you, a lot of you, this is the second or third time you've been with Women Wednesdays. So we really appreciate it. Barbara, do you have anything to close us out today?
Thank you all so very, very much. And next week we're talking about housing shortages and housing. So
Thank you, Barbara.
And we'll be back at Donny Station.
And for anybody who did not pick up their welding initials, they are in this focus.